Hello, I am Jamie. Wow, right meow. Jamie, right meow. This isn't the usual content I make. I usually make illustrated, animated stories in the wake of Roe v Wade being overturned and the fact that many more rights are on the cards to be removed or reversed. Things like same-sex marriage, interracial marriage, the seeming decline of general well-being and quality of life and fairness and equality. I just can't deny at this point that things are getting worse, and I want to use my platform to try and change that. And all I can offer you is my voice. I am a trans person and I would like to share part of my story. The video you're about to watch was recorded a few days ago, and I'll be honest, it isn't the most articulate. It was a lot of heavy topics to go through, a lot of personal and emotional baggage. I actually have ADHD and my thoughts are all over the place, garbled all the time. So clarity and being articulate isn't something I'm particularly proficient at, but I am trying to get better, and I've put off speaking for so long because I am afraid that I'll look stupid, that I won't come across well, or I'll make a bad impression. I've kind of got to put that aside at the moment, and I want to make it clear where I align with the state of the world right now, with these bills being passed and laws being changed, and with Roe v Wade, with the stuff that's happening now, with the Don't Say Gay bill. Anything you read, you have to fact check, you have to look up who wrote this article, is this authentic, is this politically aligned too far either side. It's hard work, right? But I hope people will speak out more and talk honestly about what's happening in their schools, in their states, their experiences of how they're being affected, because we need to know, the public needs to know what is happening to you. How is your life being affected? If it's safe for you to do so, and this is the thing, who knows how much control the government's going to have with access to your data, with tracking apps, like, with period tracking apps, and disregarding women and people's opinions about their bodies and their choices and how they want to live their lives, and it being driven by a system that is outdated, that is unfair, that is built on old traditions and old views that do not serve humans today. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of my experience as a trans person, some of my experiences when I was presenting as a woman, and my experience with contraceptives and why they're important, just to make people more aware of just diversity of experience in life. I am just a person. I happen to be trans, and if I was in America, there would be things directly affecting me and I would be terrified for my life. My goal is, with this video, hopefully inspire people that wouldn't usually speak out because they're afraid, because they don't think that their experiences are worth talking about, because they have been marginalized their entire lives, they have been told that they're not worth anything, they have been told that they're wrong. We need to hear people's voices, people that are going through this, people that are going to suffer, people that are suffering, understand each other so that we can make the world a bit of a better place. I know not everything's black and white, I know not everything can be fixed, but we can bloody try, can't we? So I call on you to help in any way you can. Let's be the change we want to see, because somebody has to do it, and I can't rely on politicians, so it's down to us, I guess. So I am going to say something. Don't know if it'll be any good, but I'm sure some people will listen somewhere. So thank you. Sorry it's garbled. I slap my knee a lot. See you in future videos. There's some crazy shit going on in the world right now, and if I don't use my platform to talk about it, I think I'd be doing a massive disservice to every person that not only is going to suffer from this, but the repercussions and what this could turn into. So hello, I am Jamie. I am the wow right meow. I am Jamie right meow. I was someone else and now I am this. I don't often show my face on camera. I'll be honest, I wasn't ready to come back and make videos. I've been having a pretty tough time. The UK has been a pretty horrible place right now. It's been quite stressful, especially for people like me who are trans in the queer spectrum, but also just in the world right now. I've been trying to figure out a new way to make content and come back, and I've been taking the time out to reassess what I want to do, what I want to make, and how I can make it more sustainable for myself. But I am here today because I wasn't particularly ready to come out with talking about my journey with non-binary and my journey of where I am now, but it is actually directly relevant to what's going on in the world, what may be to come, what's going on in the UK, and I need to talk about it. That's all I can do, is be honest. And if I can't get across of how terrifying this is and how much we need to work together to change the world, basically, and I know that's a lot to ask, but we can't go on like this. Things need to change. People are in danger. What's happening in the US with the Roe V Wade, and what is happening in the UK with Bill of Rights, and generally the transphobia in the press. It's time to speak out. It's time to, and I've never used to be a massively political person, and I've always been terrified of voicing my opinion because people shit on you. I don't know absolutely everything. I'm trying to learn as much as I can and get as educated as I can and see things from both sides and understand the big picture and know that not everything can be solved, not everything can be peaceful, not everything can be perfect, but I need to talk from the heart. Roe v Wade has been overturned. First off, abortion rights being reversed, horrifying, and I will talk about my personal experience with that in a moment. I found out about this in Glastonbury. I was walking between stages with my partner, and Olivia Rodrigo happened to be playing on the other stage, stopped for a moment and wanted to address the audience and started talking about how Roe v Wade had been overturned, and my heart I heard that and I immediately started tearing up because I know how many people this is going to affect, and I'm so scared for my friends and people in the US and people around the world where their rights are being taken away from them. So I'm going to share a load of links in the description that will get you up to date on all the facts of like exactly what's happened, what states it's become illegal in. There are going to be people that are unaware, or people that think it doesn't affect them, or people that just think that it's going to save a load of kids. Fuck you. Fuck you. Prioritizing a ball of cells above a living human being. So there are a few things I want to talk about. I wasn't particularly ready to come out, but I'm gonna do it now because I think it's important to hear from a trans person's perspective, just so that you're aware of the kinds of extra people this will affect. And I'm going to use language, people that can get pregnant. If anybody wants to give me shit about not saying women, it's just easier to, like, come on. If you say people with women with uteruses, some women born without uteruses, or fallopian tubes, or like parts of, and if you argue with me that I can't say people that can get pregnant, you're arguing that women aren't people. People who can get pregnant, all right? It's easy. And I am one of those people. So, bit about me, huh? I came out as non-binary, and it was important for me, and I still like they them pronouns, but I also now use he him. So I'm a trans man, pre-surgery and hormones, but I am very, very aware of my biological sex. Nobody's disagreeing with that. We trans people are the most aware, if anything, of what we have going on because it makes us so uncomfortable. I'm at a place where I don't need to validate my identity because I know who I am, and for the people that say, you're still a woman, I am fucking painfully aware that I probably have double X chromosomes. The pain that I have gone through since I was 12, 13 years old when I went through puberty, for me personally, I have had all the classic symptoms of dysphoria in that I used to, for example, before I even knew about trans people, when I was going through puberty, I used to wear bras that were 2 sizes too small, so on the chest, on the rib cage, and also the cup, because I was terrified of my breasts developing, because I didn't want breasts. It didn't feel right to me. Horrible to say because I don't want it to sound like I am disgusted by women and women's bodies, because I'm not. But on me, it has been a lifelong struggle for me,
and it's been so difficult to deal with. I started having a pretty severe eating disorder from age 13 up until my mid-20s, and the only reason it stopped was when I came out as non-binary, because I finally gave myself permission to dress how I really wanted and present how I wanted to, and for the first time in my life I understood where the pain and suffering was coming from, because I used to curb my calorific intake because I did not want to develop into a woman. It was so uncomfortable for me. I didn't want to menstruate, I didn't want to develop breasts, I didn't want curves, Sorry, had to have a break to drink water and stop crying, because going through it and talking about it out loud is painful, and I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are like, you didn't even have it bad, you're so privileged. Yeah, sure, you can say that. I said that my entire life, and this is why I'm at this point so late in my life, or later in life, going through with this and deciding it's what I need to do. Everyone has different battles, okay? And for me to be able to undo the pain that I felt since I was young, I would like to do that. I would like to try to be free of that suffering, because it's been really hard. And I went through many phases of performing femininity, and I can look at pictures of myself and I looked hot. Sure, as a girl, presenting as a girl, as a woman, looked hot. But I was dressing as, you know, what I thought looked hot on women that I liked, or like the kinds of look that I liked. But I could never recognize myself in the mirror. I could never always feel uncomfortable. I'd always feel like something was wrong, something was missing, never happy. And it's only since letting myself be who I really want to be and starting to explore this that I've finally found peace. But it's also been a lot harder, because coming out as non-binary for me was middle ground, because I was hoping that if I could just present how I wanted to and bind, and that it would be enough. And I don't want to invalidate non-binary identities, because I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talk about this, that, or transmasc or trans men, that go through from she her to she they to they them to he they to he him, and I am in the he they camp, because I really like gender neutral pronouns. I love that, and as of right now, yeah, I am going to be starting on testosterone in August. I've had to fund it myself because the wait times are years and years, and also keep getting pushed back. And I don't trust the way the UK is going to support people like me in the future, and I'm scared. I can't put this off any longer. I need to get this help, because this is the wonderful thing of finally allowing yourself to everything you've dealt with your entire life and really look at it without judgment and try and work out what you need. There's a lot of joy involved in it, but it can also get worse before it gets better, because suddenly you're in a position where you can't really do much about it until you can get the treatments you need. And I have been in that camp for a while, and it's been hard for me. I've been struggling to make videos because I've had more dysphoria about, not necessarily dysphoria about my voice, but the fact that people do clock me as a woman, and also having to explain this yet again online, and I was afraid of what people would think and the kinds of pushback I'd get and harassment online. Do you know that I, maybe going back a few years when I was at sort of peak sort of performing femininity, especially with my presence online developing, I used to write on my hand lighter, softer, and that to me was me reminding myself to speak with a lighter, softer voice, so that I sounded more feminine, because I was so insecure of who I was that I felt like I just thought I just need to get it, I just need to understand, I will figure it out, it will click one day. And I felt like that since I was 13. And I can't do it anymore. So this is me, all right? Things are gonna change a bit more, and I'm cool with it. If you're not cool with it, then leave, that's fine. So you're thinking now, what the fuck does this have to do with Roe v Wade? Bear with me now. So I have the parts that go along with having XX chromosomes. I have a uterus, I have a womb, I have the pieces, all right? Got it? Cool. The people that are going to be arguing, just use contraceptives, just don't have sex, just whatever. I want to talk to you about my experience with things like contraception and growing up with how I felt about my body and how terrifying it was, and especially as I was when I was younger, presenting as a woman and how I was treated, knowing that I had the capability of being pregnant was horrifying to me, because for me, even when I was 13, 14, I knew it's something that I would never be able to do. I would never be able to go through, because there's so many people out there that want children, and there are people that want children and can't go through it and they adopt, and that's their path. I never want children. That is one thing, but also the fact that because of who I am and how I feel about my body, it's something I could never go through, and I know that for a fact. I've known that since I was young. I have talked in therapy about it, and I am very confident, and I am absolutely entitled to not want that, to not go through that, because it changes your body long term. You have to really want to go through it to do it. There are all sorts of complications that can happen. You can be ripped, bleed out, you can get sepsis, all sorts of things. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. Even with technology today and C-sections, it is dangerous. And every single person has the right to not want that to happen. For me, long-term contraceptives were important to me. I'm currently on a contraceptive that is a Mirena coil. These are the kinds of things that people have to endure to ensure that they can live the life that they want to live, and it's very important. However, for the people that say just don't have sex or just get sterilized, do you know, my experience of asking about sterilization, ever since I've been asking to have my tubes tied ever since, or talking about hysterectomies since I was 17. And all right, I get it, so 17-year-olds asking for that, maybe when you're older, but at every step of the way, I have been told that I don't know, I don't know what I want, that what if you meet somebody and they want children? What if you change your mind? You know, what if you regret it? Despite the fact that I have gone in with documents and with all the research and explained and tried to explain without going too much into my dysphoria, because I was a closeted trans man back then, and I was afraid, I would tell them how I felt about my body and explain to them, very confidently approach them and say, this is not something that I would want ever. And every step of the way I was disregarded, and I am not shitting on doctors and professionals, because I know this is the system, and the system is to, from my experience, disregard cis women or people appear to be women or have the XX parts or similar, get disregarded of their opinion, because even though we have access to abortions here, I have personally been told that I don't know what I want, that a man might change my mind, or that I'll change my mind, and as well as the fact that I was happy to sign a waiver and say, I will not sue the NHS, I am doing this from my own, I was happy to sign whatever they needed. I know that if I did, it wouldn't happen. If I did regret it, I have no grounds to sue the NHS or medical professionals, because I have presented my case with this knowledge, and I have made this decision, and I am giving them this information as truthfully as possible, and it is on me if I were to regret that, and I would have to deal with the consequences of that, and that is something I was prepared to deal with. I'm 29 now, I'm of the exact same opinion, and I still can't get my tubes tied. In the US now, with abortions being illegal in many countries, and the countries that do allow them are still under threat. As you probably heard, it means a lot of things are on the table that weren't in the Constitution. And it also means that this could spread to other countries, because it's a very good method of controlling people and breaking people down so that there's nothing left to fight for. Reversing gay and queer marriage, and especially making it more difficult to access contraceptives. And this is what scares me, and this is why I'm talking about my story from my perspective as a trans masc person. And trigger warning, for me, I've always known since I was young that if I was ever in a position where I couldn't get an access to an abortion, if it was too late, or if I couldn't get the help that I needed, if the laws were reversed, if it was illegal, if I couldn't get it done, there is a very, very, very strong chance that I would not be here. And this is horrible to say, because I know there are going to be a lot of other people out there, cis and trans, and just people going through this that are also in that camp of it's something that they couldn't go through, either emotionally, physically, or just because their body can't cope, or that they just don't want it and never have and are scared because they have the right to live how they want and have, you know, their body is theirs, not the state's, not the government's. Your body is yours. You should have control. And now, as soon as you get pregnant in any of those states, the government owns you. They own your body. And the fact that you can be tried for going into another state to get an abortion and be tried for murder, for killing a life that was conceived in a country where it's illegal, is fucking insane. How is this happening? Because if I was in that position, and I am not saying this as a hyperbole, I am not, if I couldn't get access to that, not being here would be on the cards. But I know myself too well to know how painful that would be to survive for that long, to go through that. I could not. For those unaware, there are people that are already getting cancelled for abortions. There are people that have ectopic pregnancies, which means that the egg that's come down from fallopian tubes into the womb, sometimes it implants in the fallopian tube and starts growing in the tube, and it can rupture, it can cause sepsis, it can cause death pretty quickly. A documented case that I read on Reddit, and this person had an ectopic pregnancy and was dying essentially, and couldn't get an operation done because the doctors had to speak to lawyers for about 9 hours before they could operate to make sure that it was legal to do that. This person was so close to dying. Can you imagine being in that much pain, knowing that you could die for 9 hours before you got the help that you needed? And let alone the fact that the people that argue for, you know, a life is a life. Where's the child support? Where's the maternity and paternity leave? Where's the support from the government for schools, for education? Who's paying for that then? If you're going to be arguing that case, where is all the government support for that? Where are these people helping those lives? They don't care about life. They care about policing people and women's bodies and control. And I don't even have to mention the fact that if some people and girls get periods early, you know, sometimes 10, sometimes 9, 11, I don't even have to consider this, but if you are going to consider things like, for the people that agree, oh yeah, that's awful, but it's still a life, but you know, in that case agreeing that it's okay, you're still saying that in order for a person to have autonomy and over their bodies, they have to be violated first. And that is point blank insanity. What kind of world is that? You know, and that could happen at any age, let alone children. And I am not here to argue in the comments with people that are so far gone on the right. They've already made up their mind. Unless they meet somebody that they personally care about and are willing to learn another person's opinion and change, there's no hope for them. So I am not here to have, you know, looping discussions and arguments with people that cannot see sense because there's no point. For the people in the middle that think it won't affect them or don't see the scale of how this can affect and the domino effect this will have on other rights, you need to really pay attention because this is happening now. Start to consider what will affect other people, because even if you are a cis man, for example, and you think it doesn't affect you, it'll affect people you know, it'll affect people in your family, it'll affect teachers you know, peers, work friends, grandkids. It'll affect everything in your life. So you can't say that it's not going to affect you, because it will. Do you really want this much pain in the world? What does it matter? If it doesn't matter to you, surely you would like it that other people feel safe and comfortable and at peace than having to do this. And the thing is, I'm begging to an audience that aren't gonna be watching. And this is why I have to say something, because there are gonna, and I hope anybody watching this, no matter what the size of your platform, talk about this. Bring your presence to the table, because this is something that is terrifying. This is very, very likely to lead to the removal of more rights to your body, to live your life, to your happiness. And this is coming from a religious Christian perspective. And I don't care what your religion is, it's none of my business. You cannot use that to hurt other people, to tell other people how to live their lives. You can't. If you think they're gonna go to hell, well, that's not your problem, is it? So, you know, the people that preach on the street that if you don't believe, you're going to hell, well, I haven't got much choice, have I? So even if there is, I would rather be there than be up in your heaven, in a heaven with a God that thinks like that treats people like that. I would rather go to hell. No question, all right? So don't worry about people going to hell. Let them live their lives. You keep your opinions to yourself on people's bodies, and we're good. And for the Christians out there that don't believe in this, you need to use your platform to shut this down. This needs to stop, because people are going to die. And yeah, this is coming from a rather upset dork in their living room, but I had to say something, because these are insane times. If I don't say something, then I have been on the wrong side of history. I know, what am I bringing to the table here? What am I even offering as a solution? Like, I know the answer isn't as clear-cut as just vote, because the whole system is fucking corrupt. But we need to do something. We need to band together, and this might end up in anarchy. I don't know, but this can't keep happening, because there are things happening here in the UK that are terrifying. We don't get a representational vote, so it already feels hopeless. We're in a similar camp in that we have Labour and we have the Tories. The Tories are fucking awful. Labour has its problems. I would vote Green, because the people that care about the planet care about, funnily enough, they care about people too, and lives and individuality and culture and green energy and stuff that long term that we fucking need to survive on this planet. And yet the people that are in power are still prioritizing control and greed and money. And I don't even need to mention capitalism and how broken it is. We all know, we all see how it's failing people around us. It's not okay. This needs to change. And if it means protesting on the streets, and this is, the Bill of Rights has now been passed in the UK, meaning that, you know, the police and the government can shut anyone down that's doing a protest. It's all for control, because if we don't have a voice, then we have no power. So I'm sorry that this isn't the usual video, but if we don't step up now and speak on our platforms from the heart and to help others and try and think of the big picture and not just focus on, yourself and what you and your wealth, and I'm speaking to the people that, you know, not necessarily all Republicans, but and conservatives, and especially for people in the UK that are on the radical feminine side or the TERF side of, can you not see that the way the media is talking about trans people and villainizing people like me, it's all a distraction. These are things that we can talk about amicably and figure out what's safe for everybody and what works, because it's all a distraction. The real issues are the insane costs of living, the energy crisis, Brexit that we didn't vote for, our government being full of liars and cheats. And the same goes for America. I know there's a lot of people out there that are on the left and aren't happy with Biden either, but if we're fighting each other, then nothing can change. So please, have a bit of empathy for other human beings. Think about the people around you that are suffering, that are struggling to make ends meet, and think of the massive wealth that huge corporations and billionaires have and how unfair it is. And this entire system now is getting to a point where our rights are being taken away. Where does this end? I don't think it does, unless something can be done. And I'm sorry that I don't have the solution, but I have a platform and I need to say something. And that's why I'm here. We need to go forward with peace and kindness to people. And I know there's no way to have a perfect world, but it can be better than this. It can be so much better than this. So thank you to all of those that are speaking out. Thank you for sharing your voice. And I know what you risk. You risk being hurt by speaking out. We all put ourselves in a dangerous position. We risk getting hate and harassment. My solidarity is with all of any friends, any people watching that are stuck and are suffering because of this. I really hope things get better, and I will fight with you until this is right, until there is justice. Justice for human beings, justice for all. Please consider speaking out. Thank you.